Something has got to give. This is Tony. Hope you're all doing well. We got so many interesting news stories to get into in this video. We have, of course, our president talking about getting rid of perhaps the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. Could we be seeing the end, of course, of the Fed? I actually starting to think that it might happen, my friends. This is some good news. We'll get into that. We're going to get into a number of other things going on. All these other ones. We have AOC apparently being shown to where she actually grew up, and it wasn't the Bronx. We'll get into that. We have also a number of other updates. We're going to get into this huge war among conservatives. We're going to get into that story as well. And also some huge updates with this Alcatraz that was reopened and a ton of other stories, including some celebrity stories. We have apparently a bunch of those people that allegedly believe in climate change flocking in their private jets to Jeff Bezos' wedding. Of course they believe in it. That's why they fly in those private jets, right? We have actually a ton of other stories. We're going to get into one of Mark Wahlberg and something he just said as well. Let's just get going here. We'll start with this here. A fiery direct letter to Jerome Powell, calling it too late. Check this out.
And if you look at this chart, this is a chart of all of the interest rates of many countries throughout the world. At the top is Switzerland. They're only paying 1/4 for interest rates. Cambodia, Japan, Denmark, Thailand, Botswana, Barbados, Taiwan, Bulgaria, Cuba, Sweden, Morocco, Cabo Verde, South Korea, Algeria, Canada,
huge list.
Albania, Libya, Malaysia, China, New
We're at the
Zealand,
bottom where the
Trinidad
yellow
and
is.
Tobago, Czechia, Bolivia, Australia.
Just keeps going and going. Yeah, we're way at the bottom on the yellow. Let me show you that. We have actually here a picture of it. United States, number 35 with 4.5%. And of course, because of all the things our president's been doing, now Canada has been reined in as well. We'll get into that in a second. The tariffs, all these things are now coming to fruition somewhat. Obviously, Jerome, if he wasn't politically aligned here, he would actually, because a lot of the economists that work at the Fed apparently are on the left, they would be going the same direction as us. They would be cutting rates. They would be cutting rates right now, but they don't want to do that. I wonder why. And of course, there is a way for him to get him booted out, which is interesting. Our president here saying, Jerome, too late, Powell, and his entire board should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to the United States. They have one of the easiest and most prestigious jobs in America. And they have failed and continue to do so. If they were doing their job properly, our country would be saving trillions of dollars in interest costs. So you can see there, clearly they're not exactly working in the best interests of America. Our president's toying with firing Jerome Powell of the Fed. Be interesting to get rid of the Fed altogether. I would really like that. You have here, of course, how they could get rid of Jerome Powell. There's also the potential of actually getting rid of the Fed altogether. Although that would be much more difficult than I think getting rid of Jerome Powell. Because, of course, you could probably get it through the House, but you have to get it through the Senate too. And the Senate's not that easy. You have a few people you'd have to definitely convince, but although maybe it would be possible, I don't know, to get rid of the Fed entirely. But Jerome could be sacked because of a cause clause in the writing here. The Fed chair is appointed for a 4-year term, confirmed by the Senate. They cannot be removed by the president before the end of their term except for a cause. Cause referring to legal scholars and past precedent indicate that cause is limited to serious misconduct or incapacity, not policy disagreements. Now, I wouldn't say this is a policy disagreement because this is political, not policy, from what I can tell. And that would be a form of misconduct if they're purposely trying to use it to sabotage, of course, what our president is doing. So we're going to get into, actually, like I said, a lot more in this video. We got AOC. We got some stuff that our president's up to. We got this new mayoral candidate in NYC. And actually, even some stuff about Iran and all that. First of all, I got to mention food supply, 25-year shelf life. Link is in the description. 3 months worth for $4.97. You're going to definitely want to get that if you have not already, because the price is definitely low. You've seen all the stuff going on around us. You never know what's next, my friends. Link is in the description. Also, this book here, The Lost Ways, How Your Great-Great-Grandfather Lived Without Electricity. It's wise to have that book in printed version in your home before the power goes out. $37, get the printed version. Link is in the description. Also, we have our investment opportunity with Noah VR, our game. The game is mostly done. We're going to be doing alpha testing, beta testing, marketing still, and a little bit more of the game. Right now, we have almost 600 people with seats. You can get involved and potentially make a big profit when the game releases. 33% of the profits will be set aside for shareholders. Each shareholder seat is $400. If you're interested, go check it out. Link is in the description. At any rate, so you got that. Let's get back to the video. So we have here AOC built her entire political brand on being a girl from the Bronx. But is that true? No, actually it's not. Let's go watch this video. It's kind of interesting. Benny Johnson put this together. Check this out.
Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Bronx. This is where AOC says she's from. And this is where AOC is actually from. Welcome to Yorktown, the business hamlet of Yorktown Heights. There's mansions everywhere. It's beautiful, it's green, it's pristine, it's clean. And they even have a Christopher Columbus Society. I thought AOC...
Of course, I mean, it looks like when you look at the rest of it, it's very obvious it's a very wealthy area. Sort of old, some older buildings in the area, kind of, you know, reminiscent of sort of like a settler type of theme. They have a Christopher Columbus, of course, club. It's just kind of interesting. She would always say she's from the Bronx when she clearly is not. So you got that interesting story. Go check out his video. It's only about 12 minutes long. And of course, she's been sort of partnering, at least a little bit, loosely with this NYC mayoral candidate, Zoran, who apparently has previously called for abolishing, you know, the police, prisons, medical bills, private insurance, getting rid of pretty much everything, legalizing things that maybe you don't want in your area, like this type of work, SEX there. I mean, goodness gracious, this guy, what in the world? Of course, he also wants government-owned supermarkets, which that didn't exactly work too well in the past. You know what I mean? Like, that is not really a good idea. And of course, people have asked him what he really is all about. He seems to basically divert from the questions when he's asked about Islam and things of that nature. Also, apparently, socialist ties. Here we have a lady that's from Iran who grew up in sort of that culture there. This is on Brandon Tatum's channel. I mentioned a long time ago. I actually interviewed Brandon Tatum. I was the first person ever to interview him on YouTube. And I told him you could do good at YouTube. And he's like, I don't know, man. Maybe I'll try it. And now he's got almost 4 million subs. Check this out. This is him talking to or interviewing this lady from Iran.
Can't talk. They are state-run media. You better not dissent from the government. So I have seen and heard almost through the grapevine or vicariously through other people that understand what's going on in Iran, is saying that they are actually hopeful that things go south with the government so that they can have or elect the people that they want to be liberated. You know, the crazy thing to me is that all the people in our country, in America, that are crying liberation, 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 they don't want the people of Iran to be liberated. They don't want the women of Iran. I
so this is interesting, you know, like obviously a lot of people just completely ignore that on certain sides. You have this sort of this war, kind of brewing in the conservative realm right now, where people are arguing and debating about Iran and, of course, this other country in the Middle East. And they seem to be taking sides. And it's just kind of ridiculous because if you start really looking into all of it, it's not exactly good on either side per se. I mean, in some cases, you have negative stuff on each side. It's not like all one side's good and one side's bad or anything like that. And obviously Iran, back in before 1979, their women were able to drive. Women could, go out and go to the beach. They could do a lot of normal stuff like you see here in the West. Now they can't do any of that stuff. And so it's not, and of course, when they founded this new government there in that country, one of their explicit goals was to get rid of, America. They wanted to get rid of us completely. And so, I mean, that's literally one of their charter things in their government document. Like, I think they're maybe not friendly to us. You know what I mean? Obviously, also, considering this guy, this mayoral candidate, Zoran from New York City, you have sort of what's been happening in London and all across Europe, very obviously seeing how things have progressed. And I don't want to see that happen to an American city. We saw that, it wasn't Detroit, it was Dearborn. We saw that a little bit with Dearborn even 10 years ago. And then it sort of kind of quieted down. No one really saw anything like that. But now I'm starting to wonder about New York City, if it's going to end up like London and some of these cities in Europe. And of course, you have sort of how they establish things and sort of bring forth their agenda as they would go, at the same time, they pretend like they're not into that stuff while they're bringing it to pass. So it's actually something I think important that we can't overlook, right? And then, of course, also there is a factor with the other country over there in the Middle East, obviously with using money, PAC and things like that to influence our own representatives, which I don't agree with that either. I think it's kind of ridiculous how money can easily influence them, right? Whatever direction. You have here, of course, Candace talking about this. And I think she's made some good points, but she's also made points that make no sense. And, saying that they should be able to have one of these is insane, particularly with the fact that in their charter, they wanted to get rid of America as one of their goals. Obviously, we shouldn't let them have one of these. It's not rocket science. It doesn't matter. So my whole point is that, people are getting very myopic. They're focusing on one issue and getting all wrapped up emotionally in it, which is, I think, what happened with Candace a little bit here. But I've also seen people on the other side also getting wrapped up emotionally in defending their favorite country in the Middle East. I think both are wrong. We should be looking at our country, of course, first. Let's forget all this other stuff. Let's think about what's best interest of America. And of course, a lot of people are arguing. I thought this is hilarious. Even in the church, and these guys are sort of politics and church, you have Andrew Wilson here, he calls himself apostate prophet, about the whole topic. And this is so funny. Check this out. They're talking about the church in Israel. Check this out.
Do you acknowledge, Andrew, that there are two
Even
Israels?
if I grant it, who's the church?
Can you answer my question?
Who's the church, Ridvan?
Can you answer my question?
I
do you
did,
acknowledge?
yes.
No,
Yes.
I do. Okay, there are two
Now,
Israels.
who's the church?
There are two Israels. Do you
Who's
acknowledge?
It's just so funny. It's like neither side really wants to listen. You know what I mean? It's sort of like a perfect example right there. Andrew Wilson versus Prophet here. It's just hilarious. I've actually watched both of those guys in the past. They both have good content, It's just kind of funny. And just the whole thing, I kind of feel like I don't want to take a side. Why do we need to take sides? Let's just focus on our own country. Let's just do that. I mean, and I think our president's done a pretty good job. I got some really interesting stuff to show in that respect. I don't think he's done a terrible job, but, Candace is saying he's doing a terrible job, which I don't agree with. I mean, obviously he's not been a chronic disappointment. You know, unless you're just focusing on a single issue, which is I'm not a single issue person. What is this? You know, the fact is Canada just caved in to our demands in 24 hours. And I called this like months ago. I was like, Canada has no cards. We're going to win every time. They need us no matter what. We don't need them per se. We only get 20% of business from them. They get 80% from us. Everything they say, they're always going to cave. They're always going to cave to us because they need us. And so this is working out in our favor in a huge way. And if Jerome Powell would just lower rates, that would actually help out. You can also see our president working in other respects as well. You have here Alligator Alcatraz, which already is ready to go. It's already ready to run. This thing was in the works for a while. And it makes you wonder also, now that there's 4 new prisons, I'm guessing it's going to be used for more than just those, of course, migrants. Perhaps it's going to be used for some of these people, of course, at the top that we've wanted to get rid of. Perhaps like this man here, which, of course, they're going to be calling in. Well, not him, but his organization's being called in to Congress right now. Right? They're being called in to testify. So we're also seeing other things happening where those that are representatives aren't protected from this anymore. They could even end up in, Alligator Alcatraz. So I see some good positive things here, even though there is some stuff that I haven't liked that he's done. I don't like sort of, this lady. I mean, she hasn't really done much of anything. She's done very little, although she's on Fox News every other day. I'm hoping that maybe that's just her playing coy and that actually this is just some big thing that's going to happen soon here, which could be very well the case. They're setting up all these prisons. Who knows? I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. And actually, we do have predictions. That is exactly what's going to happen because we have Clement, who predicted our president way back in 2009. He predicted in 2013, I believe it was, that one of the Kennedys would join him before he was even president. Predicted RFK and he would be president before he was ever even in. I mean, that's like insane sounding, right? He predicted both of those. He predicted many things correctly. He says this year, many will fall in the fall. Meaning, I think God is going to be orchestrating some of this, where we see God bringing these things to pass, where things start to get much better. They talk about even this reverse, of course, rapture, which is interesting. It's not a good thing. Let's just put it that way. It's like getting rid of bad people. That's one of the things that's being predicted by many people that are in that realm as well. This is Clement here, who's got the excellent track record of predictions. He said that this year is a huge year. Strange July, which is what we're entering into tomorrow. Is it tomorrow? Yeah. And hypnotic November, meaning from July through November, a lot of interesting stuff is going to be happening. And he said many will fall in the fall. So I'm kind of geeked up for it. Let's just see what happens. We have here Mark Wahlberg calls out Hollywood Democrats. If you don't like our country, please leave. Take your friends. Cher, Jennifer Lawrence, Miley Cyrus, the whole gaggle. You got Oprah here. Colin Kaepernick with you, right? So we have that. That just came out today, which is an interesting thing. We have also another picture from Mel Gibson. Went to the Serbian monastery of Hilandar. I covered this in a previous video. Posted in front of a fresco depicting a Serbian medieval hero, Milos Obilic, who took out the Ottoman Sultan Murad. Very interesting. Which, of course, we need to bring back this sort of thinking in our country. This is how I look at it, at least. We have, of course, all those that love climate change, but for some reason still fly their private jets around. To Jeff Bezos' super expensive wedding, which apparently is in Venice, which apparently the residents of Venice don't like it at all. 200 of those people went to his wedding. I'm guessing, I don't know if Katy Perry ended up showing up there. I know Orlando Bloom. Yeah, he did, definitely. Mick Jagger, Leonardo DiCaprio. Oh, and his ex-fiancée, Katy Perry, flocked. Okay, so she was there as well. I know that Orlando and Jeff Bezos are sort of buddies. So you got that. And I'm going to get into more over my other channel. I'm going to talk about some of this stuff going on in the church over there. People getting uprooted. Honestly, we're seeing it all across the board, not just the GOV. We're seeing it in business. We're seeing it in ministry. God is getting rid of those that shouldn't be there so he can put the right people in the place. I'm going to get into some of that. We have also, I'm going to get into a little bit of sort of my thoughts on things over there. I'm going to talk about a number of other things as well in this viral video as well about Sophie, Rain, who's one of those fans, of course, models. I'm going to get into that over there as well. Anyway, that's my video. I'm kind of wondering what some of you guys think. Let me know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.